Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Gukarastu Andhakaro Vai Rukarastu Nivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitvat Gururitya Vidhiyate Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitavastu ma vidvisha vahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padam Bhujanmane Savilas Mahamoha Graha Grasaika Karmane. So we are studying the chapter 14 of the Pancadasi, and almost the last 1/4 of the topic of the 14th chapter, which is the topic of Vidyananda. So Vidyananda means that an Ananda which is based on your thoughts, because until you have the permission of your thoughts, your conclusions, your way of looking at things, you're not going to be happy. This is our experience. So it seems like a strange thing that the thought themselves are mithya. They are themselves asatyam. They are not as real as you are. And yet, it's funny that we have to depend on our thoughts in order to be happy. And so this is because we have totally abdicated our understanding of the self. Totally given up. It's kind of like, one example of that would be that suppose you have a cloud cover for several days continuously, like it happens in the Northwest, in the Seattle area, Washington State, and I'm sure that in many parts of the world where people don't see the sun at all for most of the summer, most of the year. So there you kind of give up on the sun and you say it's not going to come out. It's not there. I mean, it's just one example of that. It's not a very complete example, but something like that. So you really just start, we are all very happy when the sun is out, as we all know. And so if the sun doesn't come out, then you just give up even on the hope that the sun will come out. And all because of the blockage of the sun by the clouds. So you are depending upon the clouds to uncover themselves, to uncover so that you can appreciate the sun which is already there. It's not as though you have to really generate the sun. You're not asking the clouds to generate the sun. All you're asking, hoping is that the clouds get aside, clearing the path to the sun. There the example now breaks down because the sun is away from you. Here you are the very person that is self-obstructing yourself. But be that as it may, the fact remains that it's a very funny situation. We don't need the clouds. We don't need the thoughts, rather. We don't need the thoughts, and yet we are dependent on them. Until our knowledge of the self becomes very firm, in which case it doesn't matter whether there are clouds or not. I am just with me all the time. So here one thing to note is, interestingly enough, that one should recognize, I think this is the way to feel about the sun and the clouds and so on, is that you cannot even see the clouds unless there is sunlight. You cannot see it. So it's very obvious that even when the sun is not there, the sun is there. This is the line of thinking that we have to do. So we cannot see anything in the world unless I am the very Swayam Jyotis, I am the very Jyoti, I am the very light which lights up everything in the world. So this fact is not appreciated at first by the sadhaka because the cloud cover is so thick that you don't want to even listen to these kinds of arguments. But there comes a time when the cloud cover becomes very thin. It happens even in our daytime, that the cloud cover is so thick that it looks dark during the day. And yet there might be some fog, there may be some light clouds in which the sun is almost there. So this is the thinking that we have to do in order to be sure that we can see the sun is going to come out anytime. And that is the example of the fact that my self-understanding, my self-knowledge, after all the antakarana shuddhi takes place, that I can see the reflection of myself. I can never see myself because I am the very self. How can I see myself? So unless you have a mirror, and so the Shastra words are like a mirror. But otherwise, even when the mind is relatively clear, clean, subtle, then I can begin to see what I look like. And I can grasp it and I can accept it, and I'm very happy about it. So anyway, this is a very long explanation of what is called Vidyananda. So this is the Vidyananda Prakaranam in Brahmananda, meaning that the vrittis of the jnanam must be there. I cannot have ananda until the jnanam cooperates with me. My vrittis, not jnanam, but vrittis cooperate with me. So similarly, we saw the example that even if you are eating a rasgulla, but if your mind is someplace else, then you don't enjoy it. So you need the acquiescence of the mind in order to make sure that you can understand who you are. And it's a very funny situation because actually we don't need the mind, but we need the mind up to a certain degree, up to a certain point. And that mind also has to be in the form of neti, that no, this is not the reality. So this is an interesting thing to see, not just this is not the reality, this is not the reality, but to see that the reality of the things is due to me. I am imparting my reality to the world. So this is the next step that we will see at some point in time. So that is the real understanding. Merely saying that this is unreal, this is unreal, you cannot keep on repeating yourself, doesn't really help. If it is understood that it is unreal with respect to what? What's my comparison? How you cannot call something unreal until there is something more real than that. So the whole idea is to have the wisdom and the courage to reject the world. And you cannot do that until you investigate who you really are. Funny. So here, this is what is called Vidyananda Prakaranam. So this is what we are doing, and we saw that this Prakaranam, this chapter, has 4 parts to it. So the one is just a introductory hope that things will be okay. And we saw the example of your child that is coming back from far away after being for so long. You had almost like given up hope on it. But one day you get an email that I'm coming, mom and dad. So you're very happy, even though she hasn't come yet. But just the very promise of it gives you ananda. So similarly here, the very promise of the Shastra, which says, don't worry, you're okay. Don't be despondent in your life. Don't have any shoka. Don't have any dukkha. Things are going to be okay, because Shastra can say that with some authority because it knows me much more than I know myself. It knows there is an area that has been unexplored by me, and it is there, so it says, it's okay. It's okay. You are all right. Don't be sad. Don't be despondent. Be hopeful, and let me show you exactly what's going on. So this is the first stage. Then you see the promise of the person actually coming. Like you go to an airport and you see somebody coming down the stairs, and you can now wave. She can wave at you. You can also wave at her. And now it is not a promise. It is reality. It is almost close to reality. You still have not really, because there is still a glass door, you cannot go inside. So you haven't given her a hug yet, but you can see it. So similarly here also we can say that the next step is that you begin to see that you are okay. You can keep your eyes closed and you're okay. You don't really need to go anywhere, do anything, etc., etc. So it's the promise of the Shastra becomes a reality to yourself. So that's the second stage. Then, if you really progress on it, you begin to see that really speaking, my sense of giving up the outside and just relying on my own reality is really working. So the more you do that, you have to do this on your own. All of us can help you to say, yes, this is the direction, do this. And it requires not only just reading books or anything, but to listen to someone who also feels, yes, this is what you need to do. And part of that is that you give up the sense of, I am responsible for my joy. You have to appreciate the joy which is already given to you in the form of Ishvara. And so this kartritvam and bhoktritvam you can be slowly abandoned. Slowly abandoned. Anyway, we'll have some more interesting things to talk about kartritvam and bhoktritvam. But let me just, this is all revision in the past. And so the second one was so the third one was that you now start to give up you feel that whatever I needed to do is being done. So this is what is called tripti from the standpoint of, because you feel that I have to do something all the time. This is the issue. This is what is called bhavasagar. This is the ocean of bhava. So Vidayanand used to really put a lot of emphasis on this. They sang this song, Bhavasagar sab sukh gaya hai, fikr nahi mujhe tarne ki. Beautiful song by, I think, either Surdas or Kabir. I'll sing it sometimes. Swamiji used to sing that. And so means that the Bhavasagar means that the ocean of Bhava has now dried up, and I am not afraid of drowning in it because I don't know swimming as well as I'd like to, and so I'm drowning. And so you help me by not drowning because you took away the very ocean itself in the form of a dream situation. So here it means that my sense of doing, so the Bhavasagar, do you understand what Bhavasagar means in our life? So what Bhavasagar means is, I am always under the spell that I am not what I'd like to be. But if I keep working towards it, one day I may become what I want to be. This is the ultimate trap. This is the ultimate trap. The ultimate trap is that I am seeking, this is another example given in the Shastra, that in a desert, some of the animals, when they see the air pockets, on the horizon, it looks like there is water there. And they are so thirsty, they are running towards it, only to really find that it is not there. There's no water. It's not as though you can reach a body of water and quench your thirst. It doesn't happen. So they keep looking, and there's some shimmering water-like situation. So they keep running. This is a fact. This really is a fact that I think there are some animals, the only ones who survive in the desert are camels, because they can store something like, 20 times the weight of their body in water. So they can survive for a long time. But, smaller animals like deer and so on, they can keep running, and they finally exhaust themselves and perish. So something like that is what is happening to us. That all my life I keep postponing. I am not well. Not well means not as good as I want to be. You can always put some conditions on it. I am not as happy. I'm not as successful. People don't love me as much as I would like them to be. I'm not very popular, and so on. All those kinds of things. And then you try to correct the situation by working, doing something or the other. Feeling that if I do this, then I will be okay. And it actually kind of works for a little while. But not really. Because every morning we get up, we have new desires, new things that are pulling on us. And so I live in a ocean of bhava, Bhavati iti bhava. So bhavati means one that happens. When does it happen? I hope that I'll be happy one day. So hidden in this conclusion is, I am not happy as I am now. This is the conclusion, which is a false conclusion. The false conclusion means you may have that experience, but that's not knowledge. It's like saying that the sun rises. That's the experience. Sun doesn't rise even though there is the experience. So similarly, to feel that I am a limited person is an experience, but it is not a knowledgeable experience. Not a knowledgeable experience. It's a false experience. So that's my lot. I keep on all my life, from morning to evening, my life consists of this triangle. I'm not well, but I think if I do something, I'll be well. So I do it, and I find I'm not well. I go back to the original one. Circle. Here, this is a very interesting analysis. We talked about that you are not the karta. You are not the doer of things. You don't, I feel that I'm responsible for myself. I have to do something. If I have to teach a class, I have to talk. If I have to sit with this, I'm the one that is putting my hand on my face. Who else is doing it? No one else is doing it. I have to do it. And you're telling me that I am not the karta. I have to do something. No doubt about it. Like I have to drink a glass of water. So how can you say I'm not a karta? One can ask. Isn't it obvious? So here our acharyas give a very good argument on this. There's something to be really understood and thought. Our acharyas say that your feeling that you have to do something only comes about from the standpoint of the basis that I am not happy with me now. And we keep using the words I'm limited. That's what it really means. I am not happy completely as I am now. I'm okay to a certain extent. But probed into it, I'm not completely happy. So therefore I have to do something. Our acharyas say your desire to do something is only because of your false hope that by doing something I will be happy. This is what is common to all of us. This is not true. You are already completely happy. You just don't know it. That is what we are told by the Shastra. And I don't listen to this. I don't take this advice very well. I kind of ignore it. I can always say, yes, but. So I have doubts about that statement. But I have to do something. What can I do? I'm not happy. What do you want me to do? So the Shastra says, what I want you to do is to re-examine why you feel you are unhappy. If you call that doing, fine, call it doing, but that's not the classical definition of doing anything. Just examine it. Do vichara. That's it. Because that conclusion is false, and the falsity of that conclusion is making you crazy. So there's nothing to be done, there is something to be known. So this is an important thing to see. Somehow I feel that Shastra is not telling me the truth because it's my obvious experience that I am responsible for doing. Shastra says, if you were a limited being, then I would accept that you have to do something. But if you're already unlimited, there's nothing that you need to do. But you just need to know that you're unlimited. And I fight that instructions through and through. Don't listen to it. Oh yeah, that's what you're saying, but then you don't know me. I'm in not a good shape. I gotta do something. Shastra says, here we go again. You're not listening. Please trust me. Then comes a point where you say, what did you say? Shastra says, I told you, you're okay. You don't have to do anything. But surely I have to know nothing. But surely I have to do nothing. Nothing. Just listen. And one day comes where these words of the Shruti reverberate in my mind. So to know, you don't have to do anything. You just, if you want to call it, think about it, engage your mind, sure, we can allow that. But certainly not doing anything in the classical sense, not moving your hands, your face, your tongue, your talks, your ears, nothing. No mind, no nothing. You are already complete. This is the situation. So very quickly, let's just go through the verses that... so here what it means is, in the third section of this 14th chapter, there is tripti from kartapan. Tripti means that you have a complete sense of satisfaction, because when you have a complete understanding of this, you will say, I don't have to do anything. That's exactly what we've been saying. You don't have to do anything. And you're not accepting it. You're not listening. But if you accept it, if you listen, you think about it, there comes a point where you will say, I have tripti because I don't have to do anything. So this is what the rest of the chapter here, not the rest of the chapter, but this is the third section, which is talked about, and this is from verses 38 to 57 of the 14th chapter. So this is what is called kritakrityata. Kritya means what is to be done. Krita means it's already done. So kritakrityata means whatever needed to be done in my life is done. I don't have a sense that I still have to do something. No, this is the tripti. This is the sense of satisfaction, which is the third stage. So this is given various shlokas. So let me see if I wanted to point out something specific. So number 43. So it's points in verses 42 and 43 that there are two kinds of desires. One is the desire in this life itself, and the second one is that you desire to extend it in the next life in the form of Swargaloka. So in number 43 it says, Anutishtantu karmani paraloka loka yasavaha sarvalokatmakaha kasmat anushtami kim katham. So he says, why would I have a desire to go to another loka when I'm already happy with me? I only want to I want to postpone it. See, this is exactly what it is. That you can either postpone it to happiness in this life itself, like you're saving for retirement. This is you want to be happy in this life. That means that right now I am shortchanging myself. I am continuing to deposit money so that later on when I retire, I can have a comfortable living. So this means that you have a desire to be happy in this life. Or you can say that I want to do a lot of punya karma. I want to pray, I want to do yajnas, I want to just do bhajans, and I want to give up the rest of the world because I know that I may not be able to be happy completely in this life, but I'm told that if I do all these things, that my existence in the later life will be much better. So that's what I'm working for. So that's number in 43, is that it's a postponement of your desire later after this life. So I think I've already covered the material in 44. So in 47 to 48, the feeling is, I don't even need to study the Vedanta, the Shastra also. Shravanam and Mananam was done in order for me to come to this stage when I'm happy with myself. Now I don't need to do Shravanam. I don't need to do puja. There might be questions asked of me. Are you still studying? Are you still doing daily puja? Are you still doing the chanting of Rudram? And so if I'm already done, so I will say, why? I don't need to do that because it was going to deliver me to a certain point after doing all the Shravanam. I'm at that point already. So you cannot supposing you take lessons in swimming And you need to take lessons. You keep on taking lessons until you become a good swimmer. After that, do you need to take any lessons in swimming? No, I don't need it. I'm just floating on my own without worrying about things. I'm okay. So it says in 47 and 48, let people do Shravanam and Mananam and Nididhyasanam. But for me, that is not important because I'm done. I feel fulfilled. Tripti triptihi, mama tripti. This is the feeling for number 3. In number 49 and 50, it says, yeah, but then you have a certain prarabdha. You have to keep doing it. You cannot avoid prarabdha. So to that the answer is, the prarabdha means that I have certain obligations that I have to meet. The responsibilities of fulfilling my desires. Like supposing I had a desire to teach. That'd be kind of, it was good. I can give you that example about my life. That after I completed a good, thorough study of the Shastras, then yes, it will be good for you to teach. And so teaching became a kind of like a fulfilling desire for me. And as you know, I have been working to collect people, to hold classes, to invite Swamijis for talks and so on. So there was a feeling that I need to do, and I'm happy about it. But there comes a point where you feel, I'm done. If somebody asks me, please teach me, I will teach. It's done. I don't need to do anything. I'm happy with myself, as I've already been telling you all this. So this is the example of this. So this is called kritakrityata. Whatever needed to be done, from my perspective, I'm done. So this is what these verses talk about, 50, 51. So in number 51, it further talks about need to keep a vyavahara, some transactional responsibility for people. He said, if you want to do it, you're welcome to do it. But you're not constrained. There comes a point where, and so this is what the ashramas of life is. For example, for a married person, this would be the ashramas. So the ashramas are that in brahmacharya, you are responsible for pure internal growth, study. Then in grihastha ashrama, the number 2, your responsible is to create a home where people can feel comfortable in assembly. And so for creating a home, you need money, you need effort, you need to be doing good in some profession. So that's all part of the grihastha ashrama. And so there, Karma Yoga is used for Antakarana Shuddhi. It is not just to accumulate money, but to learn how to be patient, to be tolerant, and to appreciate goodness in others. All those kinds of things. I'm not going to go into the details of that. So that's all in the Grihastha ashram. Then in the third ashram, which is Vanaprastha, you are preparing the world, the people around you, and you are preparing yourself to start to disassociate. You're not disassociating yet. That would be too traumatic. But it's as though you are making preparations for disassociating yourself. And here, Swami Dayanandaji's advice, I think, is so good, so wonderful. I really, just you say a couple of things and from there the whole area is covered. What he used to say was, your goal for a successful Vanaprastha, if you were to say, what is the test that I am meeting? Am I meeting the test successfully or not? It is this. You should consider all of your family members, including your own spouse, as friends. This is a very big thing. You'll say, that's it? You know what that means? It means, just like in the cases of friends, you'll imagine the friends, the situation with friends. You have certain expectations from the friends, no doubt about it. But it's very tolerant. If there is a true friend who hasn't called you when you needed something, like supposing you're in a hospital and you have a very close friend, there is no reason why that friend would not have called you. If he didn't, it's because he probably didn't know that you were sick, or is so busy that despite that he couldn't call. You'll give him the benefit of the doubt, isn't it? You'll say, oh, it's okay. I know him. He really has a hard regard for me as I do for him. And I'm okay with that. But sometimes we don't treat our spouses like friends. So we feel our spouse should really know any better. Why is he or she not really helping me? Why is there is some criticism in their voice? So to bring this relationship about mine, my family, and my wife, and my husband, my children, how come they have not called me? I think I was telling you that in the 80s or something, I did not call my mother and father for 1 month because we were traveling in Europe. And I still remember my mom was so upset. When we talked on the phone, she said, have you forgotten me? Don't you have some responsibilities? So I said, Mom, I haven't forgotten you. I have not forgotten any responsibility. We were just busy in traveling in Europe. This is just an expectation. That means the Vanaprastha was not taken. If the Vanaprastha was taken, you will say, okay, that's all right. So Vanaprastha is a preparation for disassociation. Sannyasa is the real dissociation. Sannyasa means that you are now completely on your own. And this is how the ashrama system was supposed to be. 25, 25, 25, 25. They said that the moment you become a grandparent, your vanaprastha stage should begin. You should start to feel a sense of non-ownership. And you are just okay with how things are, whatever happens. This is vanaprastha. It's really funny, I tell you, this is because I think I was telling you this, that when recently when my grandson was born a month ago, 20th of April, and some of my close friends, they would text me by saying, wow, that was my first grandson after 3 granddaughters. So they said, my goodness, you must be so happy that you got a grandson, because now your Kapoor dynasty will continue on. Quite honestly, I had no such feeling. I was very, very happy that the baby seems to be healthy. Even that will not be completely tested until the baby is 5 or 6 years old, because a lot of the mental issues don't show up for another 5 years. So that's my only prayer, that there is a person who is close to me, and now we will have to take care of it, and I hope that he's healthy. That's all. But there is no sense of dynasty or anything like that. So I wrote back to this, my friend. I said, you know what? All children, I remember this was told us specifically by Swami Chinmananji, all children are really God's children. They are given to you as a trustee to take care of for the few years. That's all. I remember Swami Chinmanan gives this example. He says, suppose you are going away for a month to Europe, and you don't have a garage, and your friend has a garage, and you have an expensive German car, Mercedes, that you were foolish enough to buy at a very early age because you wanted a German car. Now you're going away for a month. And so you tell your friend, will you please just keep this in your garage? And also, if you want to drive it around, please do so, because it'll be good for the car also, and you also enjoy it. So you left your car with the friend. And this friend now starts to drive. And he says, oh my God, this is a beautiful car to drive. It is not like my local Honda. This is something really comfortable, and the steering is so precise. I had no idea it was so beautiful. So he started to drive it and so on. And when the friend comes back and he says, okay, I'm back, I want my car back. And he said, can I keep it for another 2 weeks, please? So he says, no, I need my car back. He says, no, I want to keep it for a couple of months. Why? Because from a trustee, you became a sort of like an owner of the car. This is exactly the situation with the kids. Ishvara says, by the way, there's going to be a baby born, and I want you, Ishvara is talking, I request you to take good care of it. I know you may not be able to take care of somebody else's baby, but learn to take care of this baby as yours. But it is really mine. I am the owner. I am the owner of the Mercedes. And take care of it. But what happens is that after a while we get such attached to the baby, attached to my children, that they become mine. And I go through all the pangs. If the child goes away for a while, I feel that's mine. And God forbid if something should happen to the child, I cry a lot. not knowing that the Ishvara wanted the baby back for something else. It's his. And the dynasty of the Lord never really dies. The one particular family's dynasty may die, but not the dynasty of Ishvara. So really those were my feelings when I got these letters of congratulations. And I told them, I don't have any particular, some kind of an ego that this is my grandson. No. Beautiful. All children are beautiful. So, anyway, I don't remember exactly where we started. I went through in such. So here, I could, in verse 51, we said, let people do vyavahara on that basis, but I don't really have any reason to do vyavahara in that. So here the vyavahara will be that you, supposing somebody has a grandson born. This is what happens in India all the time. We favor boys over girls, and we throw, maybe at least the old days, I don't know if the new days or not, but we throw a big party when a son is born. We may not throw a big party when the girl is born. So similarly here 151 says, let people do vyavahara. Vyavahara means that you feel that, it is the right thing for us to do, to throw a party when the son is born. That is how the society expects you to do it. This is why then you give everybody sweets you distribute sweets. And so he says, let people do vyavahara want to, but I'm a vanaprasthi, and when it's close to a sannyasi, it should be a sannyasi. At the age of 75, I should be a complete sannyasi. Whether I actually formally take sannyasa or not, I feel like I should just behave like a sannyasi. Doesn't make any difference to me. I'm fine the way I am. So this is the form of kritakrityata, of a viveki, of a jnani. So this continues on on the verses 54. And it talks about the type of actions that we've already done all this, so that's why I'm not really going through this. What does karma do? Utpatti, prapti, samskara, vikara. And it says, I don't need to do that. I don't need to do that. I'm not a karta. And if I have some feelings that I have to do karta, like if I have to eat, so this is another thing. Things that are given to me. See, this is one good way to distinguish. If things were given to me that I didn't ask for, that means it's a direct influence of Ishvara. Direct versus indirect. So for example, to feel hungry is Ishvara's doing it. It's not the jiva's doing it. But to eat a particular type of food, rather than just to eat, that is a jiva shrishti. But to relieve myself of hunger and thirst is Ishvara shrishti. And I should not feel either deficient or proud of just doing it because I'm expected to do that in my life. So it goes through those kinds of arguments. So then in verse number 57, he summarizes this kritakrityata, which began in verse number 38 to 37, is the third stage of kritakrityata. In number 58, it starts the last topic of chapter 14, which is Vidyananda Prakaranam. Here, it's a very small difference between number 3 and 4. In number 4, it is kritakrityata of not what I have to do, but what do I get out of it? See, that's the thing. So this starts with verse number 58. If you are interested in counting and looking at the exact ones. So he says, first of all, in number 3, it was what had to be done, I feel I have already done. So this is tripti or kritakrityata. Kritakrityata means, as I said before, that what's needed to be done is done. Number 4 is even better satisfaction than before. It means what needed to be achieved is achieved. I have reached my goal. So you see the difference between them, because in number 3 it was whatever I was expected to do, I have fulfilled that up to the maximum possibility. And number 4 is that what I needed to get, I have already gotten. Praptasya prapti. And so therefore, in this fourth one, there is a greater sense of satisfaction. Like in all these verses, and it's a very short section from 58 to the end of this chapter 64, and it all says dhanyoham. In fact, dhanyoham is repeated. Dhanyoham, dhanyoham, nityam, swatmanam anjasa vedmi, dhanyoham, dhanyoham, brahmanando vibhati me spashtam. Dhanyoham. So this word dhanya means, those of you that are studying Sanskrit, so this pratyaya, dhanya, means fit for something. So here the fit for dhanam. Dhanam means my gaining some capability. Money. Money is usually called dhanam. So dhanyam means what is to be gained in terms of money and capability. Dhanyam means yogyata, dhana yogyata, fitness for it. He says, I already got it. I already got it. In fact, in the rest of the verses, it simply says, this is one very important point here. This is really one thing to be seen. All dhanam, which is the worldly dhanam, the worldly money. So the money stands for capability in general. All capability, houses, family, friendship, health, money, fame, power, all of it. All of the worldly dhanam that I can think about is not my own. It is given to me. I had a role to play in collecting it. I won't deny that. But even the capability of my role to collect it is also given to me. That also comes from Ishvara. If I don't have the capability, if I am mentally not fit, how am I going to be able to collect all this? And where did the mental capability come from? Mental capability came from eating food. Where did the food come from? Health came from. So everything is all given to me. But anyway, leave that aside. But if you look at the property that I am possessing, the one that I am feeling I need, I am responsible for this and so on, is also not mine. You know why? Because I see it is taken away from me. I have wealth at a certain point, boom, one stock market crash, it's gone. I have a house I feel is mine, earthquake, gone. And in fact, if it is not gone by either a stock market crash or some earthquake or something, by the end of the life, it's all taken away from me. I cannot take it anywhere I want to go. It's not yours. It is like a currency note which you take out of your wallet, and you take out a couple of them, and you feel this is mine. Then you give it to someone else, it's no longer yours. You know, Swami Dayanand used to say that. He said, this is why they say you should respect Lakshmi, but not to get too close to her. It is okay to enjoy her company. She will come and laugh with you for a while. She will share jokes and give you a good company. But please always remember she is married to Lord Vishnu. So like a wonderful lady, enjoy her company. But don't try to possess her because she doesn't belong to you. She belongs to Lord Vishnu. And if you misbehave, you will be punished. So really speaking, all dhanam is, you are a trustee of it. You are not the owner of it. With one exception. The greatest wealth of it is yours, which is you. Why is it the greatest? Because it will never be snatched away from you. You are never going to be snatched. Your thing will be snatched away from it, but you cannot be snatched away. You are you. That is the ultimate dhanam. Even Ishvara cannot take that away from you. It's like supposing you tell the Ishvara should be able to do anything, isn't it? Yeah, that's how we defined Ishvara. Ishvara can do anything. So why can't he take me away from me? Ishvara say, oops, I guess I'm not as powerful as I thought I was. I cannot take you away from you. You know why? Because you and Ishvara are one and the same. So who is going to take what away, for who, from whom? It's all one and the same. So this is why in the last part of the chapter 14, it says, you are the greatest dhanam that you are capable of, anybody is capable of getting. You are it. But you have to know about it, you have to discover it, you have to have Shraddha in it, and you have to own it. It's what is called asmasat karanam. You have to assimilate it. Swami Dayananda used to say that if somebody was given this news that, you go to a homeless shelter and say, are you such and such? I am a lawyer representing a distant aunt who just left you $10 million. And at first the person doesn't even believe it. But even after you start to believe it and you write you sign that this is mine, your habits don't go away very quickly. They don't change. You are still kind of act like a homeless person. That assimilation takes a while. Similarly, the assimilation of who I am, what my dhanam is what mananam and nididhyasanam is all about. So you have the greatest wealth that anybody has, but you just need to assimilate it, to know it and assimilate it. So with that, we close the 14th chapter, and we have only one other chapter left to do in this series, which is the 15th chapter, and we will begin doing that from next week on. Okay. So with that, I close the class. Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Very good. Nice to see you all after such a long gap. I was with some of you at the retreat recently, which went well, but many others that couldn't make it, I have not interacted with you for 2 weeks. So very nice to have you attend this class. And as I mentioned to you that we are going to start in-person classes from June 3rd. And I will send you details about it. I have some plans on going forward, and I'll explain all that in the next day or so. So I will send it to you, both in the WhatsApp group, and I think that I feel I need to send an email to even class students that have been out of touch with me for 5 or 6 years. So I'll send everybody if anybody wants to come. So this will be in Milpitas at from 8:30 to 10. Not this coming Saturday, but the following one on June 3rd. So we will discuss a number of different topics, including perhaps a talk and some class also. So I hope you all are able to make it. And until then, I will, and of course, we'll have a continuing class on Tuesday next. So with that, let me take your leave. If you don't have any questions, and I don't see any questions, then I'll see you later.